You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. You look good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air on a Monday here in the Quad Cities. It is Monday, April 14th. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you're watching us live on YouTube, we appreciate that. The countdown to 1,000 is real. We are at 990 when it comes to subscribers, so 10 away from 1,000. We'd love to get that. Heck, by the end of the show would be fantastic. Also, if you're watching live on X, we appreciate that as well. And also, you can check out the show every single day on all of the podcasting platforms out there, whether it be Apple Podcasts, it be Spotify, iHeart, Podbean, you name it, we're on it. Download us. Go for a run today. Go work out. All those things that healthy people do. I don't know if I'm doing that, but all those things. Download the podcast. Check us out. A lot to get to here on a Monday in the Quad Cities. And, of course, as I mentioned, if you're watching live on YouTube or on X, go to the YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, all of those things. Help us out as always. It is Monday, so we got a lot to get to. Excited about today's show. A lot to get to after the weekend. Of course, it is Monday, which means our good friend Pat Angerer will be along in a matter of moments to share some weekend thoughts. I got some questions for him. Maybe a victory lap, possibly a victory lap for myself and Pat. We'll see what happens. So Pat Angerer coming up in a matter of moments. Also, the Masters was yesterday. It was history. Rory McIlroy becoming the 6th golfer ever to complete the career Grand Slam. Great day of golf. Great weekend of golf. And I wanted to talk about that. Zach Johnson really good this weekend as well. So I got a hold of a good friend of mine, Rick Brown, legendary sports writer in the state of Iowa, 10-time Iowa Sports Writer of the Year. Good friends with Zach Johnson, covered Zach during his major victories as well. So we'll talk golf with him. Also, longtime beat writer for Iowa basketball and football. So a lot to get to with Rick Brown coming up in a little bit as well. And then also in hour number 2, we're going to be joined by Alleman baseball coach Thomas Simth, because the Pioneers are doing something cool tomorrow night on Tuesday, Military Appreciation Night. I wanted to talk to him about that and encourage military folk that want to go check out a great baseball game. Go do it for free, get a meal as well. A lot to get to when it comes to that. Thomas Simth from the Alleman baseball program joins us in hour number 2. A few news and notes before we get rocking and rolling. Illinois standout guard Kasparis Yakachonis has officially entered the NBA draft. That's no surprise at all. Many have him as a top 15 pick, maybe even a top 10 pick. So not a surprise in Champaign, but it is official. KJ heading to the NBA. Also, overnight, started yesterday, but Adam Miller, former Illini standout who went to LSU and to Arizona State, is back in the transfer portal. A lot of people linking him to Champaign. We'll see. I think that's kind of weird because when he left Champaign, Illinois fans didn't love it and they weren't too nice to him. So it'd be, I don't know about awkward, but intriguing to see him head back to Champaign. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. More transfer portal news. Brendan Sullivan, the Iowa quarterback in the transfer portal. He did that on Saturday, I believe that came. So Brendan Sullivan in the transfer portal after Mark Gronowski transferring. He's the guy this year. We'll talk a little bit about that with Pat Angerer coming up in a little bit. Hey, how about the Quad City Steamwheelers? They are now 4-0 in the season. They hammered Iowa 53-35. So since the Quad City Steamwheelers and Off the Air have started this Wheelers Wednesday, all they do is win. I don't want to take full credit, but good things happen when you associate with yourself with the show. The Wheelers, a great sponsor. The Storm are not a sponsor. They lost. I don't know what to tell you, I guess. I don't know. But unfortunately, the Storm season did come to an end with a loss on Saturday night at home, or Friday night, at home. So their season is done. So a lot to get to throughout the show, but we start on Mondays, as we always do, with the This smiling face. You're not smiling. What's wrong?
Hey,
Oh,
buddy,
there.
how are you?
I'm good. How was your weekend?
It was like yesterday it was like really cold and hot at the same time. I don't get it. We had like winter in the morning and then it was summer and it was like all I wanted the kids to do on Sunday was just lose so I could go watch the Masters.
Right.
And then Emmett's team kept winning, but I was at least able to catch the last couple holes. So that was good.
So do we have a champion in the Angerer household?
No, but my daughter played in a tournament where there was just two teams and she got second. She got a ring. So she was the only one that came home with a ring and she's my favorite right now.
I love it. But
She's pretty excited.
Only two teams?
Yeah, so she got second.
That's nice.
Not last.
No,
Not last.
second.
She got second.
Did you get to watch?
She
I
was so excited.
I don't want to get into Masters stuff just yet, but did you watch it? Did
I
you have
did,
your phone
yes.
out?
I
Or, like,
did, well, the last three holes.
You can watch it on your phone.
Yeah, but I'm between the drinking beer and making fun of each other at first baseline. I don't have time to watch the Masters.
Yeah. I had good news. Both of my kids won a championship.
Ooh, my man.
But-
It's hard. I didn't know if they won because I didn't see it on Facebook. And, when you have those Monday Facebook, it seems like everybody wins a tournament over the weekend because 75,000 people are posting how great their kids are at baseball.
So the reason why my 10-year-old's team won was because Chase, and Chase is a big Pat Anger fan, probably a little bit too big of a Pat Anger fan.
Like,
He loves chatting with Pat Anger. He got an ear infection on Saturday night, really bad. So he wasn't there on Sunday, which is why they probably won, is because my kid wasn't there to mess things up.
They would have won by more.
Yeah, something like that. And then the other one, they won one over in the Hitman Complex, but so everybody's happy. I'm sure Jen put a post up. I don't do those things like I used to, but
check it
I think the biggest news of the weekend was I saw you on Friday and on Saturday. We had a little extra. How about Friday night? No admission over to get into games.
Well, 12 and under in for free. I mean, are we changing the world here?
I don't want
What
to
an
take
amazing time.
I don't want to take full credit, but there's talk of statues being put up. I don't know if it's.
Oh, I'll take it. I'm going to take all the credit.
It's good. We're working in the right direction, are we not?
Yeah, but what's funny? So Sunday, my wife parked like far away. So but between the games, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go park. I'm going to go move your car. And so I went and I moved it. Could not find a parking spot. Drove around for a half hour. Ended up parking her car further than where she was when I started. So that was good.
But parking is free, so that's okay.
Parking's free. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think we changed the world last Monday? Because we talked about it a little bit, Matt, last Monday. Do you think we had an impact? I've been told no, specifically by somebody who would know. But
I think if that specific person is telling us no, that means we did have an impact.
But I also be careful because you don't like playing at 8 o'clock in the morning, and that's been.
I don't mind. I would love to play at 8 a.m. as long as we lose, and then I can go home. That's perfect.
It was, and I'm not going to harp on it or anything, but that was nice on Friday night. The Hitman Complex doesn't normally charge on Friday nights because you're playing one game and there's no lights. So I get that because you're probably playing a game and getting out. But I was like, I didn't know what was going on. I thought something was. I was worried I did something wrong or I snuck in or something because no admission on Fridays. That's nice.
Yeah, they shouldn't charge to begin with because you're parking in a swamp and there's like one bathroom. But either way,
Are you talking about the Hitman? How dare you?
Yes.
How dare you? Oh boy, you're gonna have Jen Randazzo on your ass here in a second if you're not careful. I'm just saying.
Well, then I might keep talking, man.
Take it easy. Take it easy. Okay, so that was our victory lap for baseball. If anyone has
we're the best.
Something that you want us to change, we're taking requests. Maybe we can fix this trade war with China. Like, do you want to tackle that next week?
Let's start with taxes. No more taxes. Let's do that.
Okay.
I think we can get that done.
All right. By what is it, April? By May, we're going to free the country of taxes. This is going to be great. The power of the microphone, Pat. It was It was nice.
Crazy.
I was shocked people were
Yeah.
listening. I was
Well, the
floored.
thing is, if you would have done this on WQAD, nobody would have been listening. Luckily, you have your own streaming platform now that people tune into.
I'm not, you said it from your mouth to God's ears. I guess that might be a thing. Okay. Before I get in any more trouble. Did you watch the Masters? How fun was that? Like, what a great Sunday. I know you only got to watch the last 3 holes, but like it was set up for such great drama and we got it.
It was awesome, and I mean, just the struggles that he went through. Obviously, what was it, 13, where he struggled with, and then came back on 17 and got a birdie and got up, and then missed a putt he's probably made a million freaking times, and he just had to eat it. He had to deal with it, and he had to move on, and just to see the emotion after him winning it was great. I love watching people do amazing things, and that was so cool. And then I mean, I didn't realize only 6 golfers have won a Grand Slam. That's insane.
Yeah.
Like, good for him, man. I'm really happy for him.
I thought it was cool because afterwards he talked about the fact that, like, he's like, what are you guys going to talk about next year? Because it's what everybody talked about, him
Right.
and chasing it. But I think that's what's cool about golf is that kind of emotion. And that was just like a lot of pressure just being exuded, leaving his body when he made that shot. And that's what's cool about golf is that kind of emotion after winning and all that kind of stuff. That's what draws me to the game. I think more than almost any other game because there's no helmets. There's nothing like that. It's just pure emotion. I love seeing it. As a guy who played professional sports, I'm sure you love seeing that too.
Well, there's a lot of hours that could get put into it in golf. I mean, I think probably more so than any other sport, I would assume. Just probably kind of the monotony of it and the times he didn't want to go out there, and he went out there for hours and hours. And I do think that golfers, as far as like any professional sport goes, I think they're the best at their sport. I mean, I maybe because everybody can do it and the majority of us are so bad, but they are so good at golf. And that's why, that last putt that he missed, or not the last putt, the one he missed on 18, I'm sure that had to have killed him. And I really sure hope that kids are watching that, because he didn't throw a fit. He didn't cry. He didn't, something he's been working for his whole life. He just messed up, and, he put his nose down and he went back to work. Like, I surely hope that kids are watching that, because I'm sure you watched a lot of baseball where some kids were striking out and crying and getting upset, or, getting a hit and somebody catching it, but you move on to the next one. Don't rely on what happened in the past, and just trust your training. And he did. And it was great, man. It was hard not getting emotional on the couch.
So he misses that putt. I had 2 questions, and maybe they popped into your head. One, why didn't he put the pin flag right behind the hole? It would have gone in.
Yep.
2, did he not buy
That's
any
why I do it.
mulligans? Like, why didn't he just buy a mulligan?
Yep. That's why we do those things. That's why when we play, we do those things, so stuff like that doesn't happen. Or if you miss, just change your score.
Yeah. Or, how many, like, just grab it and go, hold on, let me do that again. You were talking. Pat just said a joke. It was funny. I was giggling. Let me do that again. That's I would get over that. I'm not kidding, Pat. I'd miss that putt. I'd miss it 7 out of 10 times. In that situation, I'd probably miss it 10 out of 10 times. Right?
I've never made a putt, so I don't even know. I don't know how it feels.
That's not true, and I don't want to give you any credit, but there was a few years, the year we won, the magical season, if you will.
Yep.
You made a putt on one. I don't know if you remember it. I don't know if you were already overserved by that point, but we did make some good putts.
Can we say, just on record, that he's technically not a Grand Slam winner because he hasn't won the Guy Randazzo golf outing?
That's just a great point. That maybe we're changing golf right now. Like, this could be the show that does it. Like, from now, like, Tiger's going to be coming back.
People are making a big deal about it. He's never won the Guy Randazzo outing, so anybody can win the Masters.
Yeah. If he wants to change that, if Rory and Tiger and Jack, and if they want to all come together and just try to win it this year, they can all knock it out in one swing. I would welcome them to the outing if they want to do that. So, Zach Johnson golfed well.
Charge of only.
Pat, you're frozen. There you go. Now you're moving again. You just had this funny little look. There it is.
Sorry.
Zach Johnson had a good weekend. We're going to talk to Rick Brown about that coming up in just a little bit, so I don't want to harp on it too much, but I'm a Zach Johnson guy. I like, in fact, I got to get this thing put up now that he golfed well. Look at that. That's the year that he won. Look at that. So I've had this next to me for like 4 weeks. And my wife's like, when are you going to just hang the damn thing? So I got to do that. But Zach golfed well.
Well, she's got to find enough time to hang it for you because I know you can't.
It's probably, there's a little, well, I just like using little stickum things. And this one's got like a wire thing. So I got a pound. I got to I don't know. But,
you got to get your wife to put it up. That's fine. I get it. I do the same thing.
There's something there, but I'm going to move on. He's 49 years old and he's getting outdriven 75 yards a pop probably. And he's shooting a 66 on Saturday. I thought it was really cool because that's golf. That's a golfer making good golf shots, putting well, short game well. In today's day and age where everybody just goes out there and hits the ball as hard as they can, I thought it was cool to watch Zach did what he did this weekend, especially on Saturday.
Yeah, he's squared away, and I don't know really anything about golf, but he seems like he's extremely technical, and he's putting a lot of time and work. And the dude's solid. The guy that we need at the Guy Randazzo Memorial Golf Outing. But yeah, it's good when you see good people have success, and he's as good as it gets.
Let's talk some football because Brendan Sullivan enters the transfer portal. I saw some people like worried, like or just saying like there was one tweet that the fan base drove him off. Which is not the case at all. I think the fact that Mark Gronowski's healthy and playing well, this young man just wants to play. He's got one more year left and he wants to be on the field. That's the case with Brendan Sullivan, isn't it?
Yeah, Brendan's a great guy, and he made a lot of really good plays for us last year, and just a really good kid, and always said the right thing. I only interacted with him a couple times, but I enjoyed every interaction. And I mean, gosh, he's huge. He's like 9 feet tall, it seems like, and really like threw his body around and hurt himself trying to get first down, trying to get the extra yard. And I really enjoyed watching him. I hope that he has a ton of success and hope he gets on the field. I mean, if anything, Iowa fans should be excited because that means the guys that we have in the quarterback room are extremely talented and very good. And obviously, Sullivan didn't think that he was going to be able to get on the field, with the QB roster we have. And so should say something good about the guys we got in the room.
Mark Gronowski met with the media last week. We had Chelsea Brown on Friday kind of talking about it. If you were a good color commentary guy, you would have been up there as well, asking the questions, but I don't think you made it. But I thought he did a great job. I watched most of it. Our good friend Tom Kakert posts all of it on YouTube, so we appreciate Tommy. And I think he said the right things. He seems like an Iowa guy. Did you hear it? Did you see any of it? And obviously he's back throwing, and I think everything's going to be good. He seems like a great fit for the University of Iowa.
Well, you can tell he's got an excitement, and he wants to prove people like, hey, he's a D1, big time quarterback, and I think he will. And obviously once he's able to go full go, and Tim Lester to really get a hold of him and kind of teach him the offense and the things that we're trying to do, I think the sky's the limit for him. A lot of people don't understand. I mean, probably last year with our quarterback situation, with the guys getting hurt, with the new guys coming in, all that stuff. I mean, I would assume we probably put 20% of the offense in, maybe less. And we probably went into different games with, 3 or 4 different offenses. So probably our offense is probably handicapped just by, experience and skill level. So really excited for him to get in there and just see what he does and just see how our offense evolves.
Last Monday, I started the week with you. It was a good week. You, Jess Settles, and Joey Van Wetzinga. And on Wednesday,
nice.
I got a phone call that Joey was hitting the portal. And I got several messages wondering why I talked to Joey when he got in the portal and blah, blah, blah. Sometimes you get to a place and you find out it's not exactly what you expected, and that's not a negative at Iowa, but obviously he was hoping to play with his big brother as well, who I think transferred the day that he signed. But anyways, long story short, you've known the Van Wetzingas for a long time. I've known Dad, head coach, for a long, long time. Both of those boys are just hardworking guys. I'm excited to see where Joey does. I'm an Iowa fan. I wished it would have been in Iowa City. I was hoping it would be in Iowa City, but I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to find success wherever it is. If it's Central Michigan, that might be where it ends up being. But just talk about the Van Wetzingas and a young man trying to do what's best for himself, probably. And that's what Joey had to do this past week.
Yeah, I'm never going to fault a kid for for doing what he feels is best, and that's what he's doing, and he's going to have success wherever he ends up. I mean, that family is as tough as it gets, and it really it starts with Rusty's mom. She used to run the fitness center, and she was a tough one, and not surprised by Big Rusty's success, and just I've been very happy to get to know him, since I've been done playing, and the utmost respect for him and the program that he runs over at PV, and his sons are spinning images of him, and they're gonna do really well where they end up. And I know Lil Rusty's gonna do great over at Central Michigan with Drinkle, and hopefully Joey finds a spot and does great. And the thing it's tough because I feel like in that situation, especially nowadays, you feel like you owe everybody an explanation, you owe the world an explanation, and really you don't owe anybody anything. You owe yourself to do what's best for you, and I think he's doing that, and hopefully it works out for him.
It's weird because you're saying nice things about Pleasant Valley. Like, I mean, Kevin fracking watches
Yeah,
the
well,
show.
I was on a podcast the other day crying about Greenwood. I don't know what's going on with me right now.
Hold on. You were what? You were on a podcast?
Yeah, yes, I was cheating on you.
I thought I had an exclusive deal here. What in the world?
Well, the checks have not, they haven't gone through, so I'm still waiting for those.
Me too. Did you did you cry? Did they get you? You were talking about Brett and they got you?
Yeah, it always gets me talking about him, so don't bring it up, please. Thank you.
No, not all. I like talking about him in the good ways because and everything's a good way. And when you get that, you talking to him about a good way as well. But I love the interaction. I love taking him to lunch. I love him calling you the words that he calls you and the things that he still calls you to this day. That's the Brett that makes me smile as well. So,
Yep.
then I'm going to say his name here. Hold on. Nico Iamaleava. You know who I'm talking about, the Tennessee quarterback.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I tried to say his last name. I'm just going to go with Nico.
You did good with the Illinois guy. The Illinois guy's name that you said
Yakachonis.
Before?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did good with that.
That's because I'm a professional. I used to
That's
do
because you're an Illinois fan.
Hey, ILL, right? No? All right. I couldn't even
No,
sell it. I couldn't
not
even sell it right. He leaves and he just no-shows the Friday before spring practice or the spring game and just says, I want more money. I want $4 million or I'm out. There's so many things that drives me crazy about this. But when you hear about it, what goes through your mind?
It's just sad that college football's in a position where stuff like that happens. It's not the college football I played in, which I was very happy that I played the time I played at. I do think kids deserve money, but I think it's completely out of hand, and obviously stuff like this shows it.
You look at it, Pat, and I think they deserve the money and all those kind of things. But
Yeah.
Can you imagine yourself in the NFL? And let's say you didn't fail miserably, and you actually got that second contract, okay? And then like a year later, you're like, I want more money. You have to go hold out, and then you're not getting anything. You're holding out and hoping you win. In college football, if they don't want to, they can just be free agents again. Can you imagine that? Mm. Can you imagine like Patrick Mahomes just says, hey, I don't like how much money I'm making, so now I'm just going to let everybody else in the league sign me if they want to. I'm going to go into this portal, and that's the weird part about it. If they want to have these kind of things and contracts and all that kind of stuff, if you commit to something and then you find out you didn't get what you should, you can't just go to another team, can you? It doesn't add up to me.
Right. Remember in Mr. Deeds when my man Deeds was talking to that football player and he was demanding more money, and Mr. Deeds goes, well, if you played bad, could we pay you less? And he goes, hey, and so it's like, if this guy played bad, they wouldn't pay him less. So like, if you're doing good, they're going to pay you what you agreed on. Like, I don't understand that. You signed the contract and it is what it is. But the hard part is somebody's going to pay this kid.
Oh, absolutely.
Somebody's going to pay him. And the problem too is that's going to put a Band-Aid on that, and he most likely will not change. And yeah, it's tough. And I don't know his situation and all that stuff, but yeah, I mean, as a college kid, what's he getting paid right now?
I think it was 2.5.
I mean, gosh, what can you buy with? We can buy with 4 million. They can't buy with 2.5. In college. I mean,
It's just
gosh.
weird. No, and I don't want to bash the kid because it's it's the system we have
It's
now.
a system. It's 100%. It's allowed.
Shame on college
You're
football.
either-
Shame on the NCAA. Shame on the school presidents, the university presidents. Shame on all them because you can't blame a kid for trying to get the most of what he can. I do applaud Tennessee. I do big time applaud Tennessee for just saying, all right, we're not doing this. We can. It's not just about you. We can win without you. Go ahead and go.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, going back to the NCAA and all that stuff, the Iowa coaches always had a motto that said you're either coaching it or you're allowing it to happen. And, the NCAA, they're either promoting it or they're allowing it to happen. And they're definitely allowed it to happen. And somebody needs to step up. The hard part is they gave the players all the power. And once you give them the power, it's probably pretty impossible to get it back.
Yeah, it's like a genie out of the bottle. Good luck getting it back in and
Ooh,
trying to figure it
love
out.
that song.
Yeah,
Love that song.
Sing it. Come on.
I'm a genie in a bottle. Something like that.
That's the social media clip for today. None of the
Please
things
don't.
you just said is going to make it on social media, but
I feel like I've said like a couple intelligent things.
You have. I know you got to go, so I only got a couple more minutes left with you. Two quick things. One, finishing up the Nico talk. How do you think Kirk Ferentz would handle that? And that's why I like what Tennessee did, is because I felt like they did what Kirk probably would have done and said, okay, like we can move on without you. Be okay.
Yeah, but here's the thing with Coach Ferentz and just the Iowa staff is, they really vet guys that come in, and they wouldn't have had somebody on the roster that would have thought like that. It's team first, and nobody's bigger than the team, and that's the end of the story. And that's why we do more with a lot less than a lot of other schools.
There's been players like that have been on the team that haven't survived in Iowa City, hasn't there?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Want to
I think
name
one's
any
pretty
or
public.
talk about any?
No, because that one guy keeps talking about us. It's like, dude, get over it. Move on.
Okay. I'm willing.
The guy won't shut up about us. It's like, dude, move on.
Yeah, I hear you. I love
If
it.
you're happy where you're at, quit talking about us.
There you go. That's very, very good advice on a Monday from Pat Anger. Before I let you go, I got to put this thing up, and then I got to turn your microphone back on. So give me 1 second. Boom. Your microphone goes. Hey, can you talk? I got to talk about this because I'm ticked off about it, Pat. Why do you look like you're the coolest? Like that's not you.
That's me.
Why do you get that and I get a microphone? Where's my face?
That's true. I mean, honestly, probably the ear. They couldn't fit the ears on there, so they probably was like, well, we'll just put the logo.
Yeah, T-Roy sent that to me the other day, and I'm like, man, like it could be, but I understand it. So, anyways, we are doing this. It sounds like you're suckered into doing it. You're pot committed. Coming up a week from this Thursday is the first round of the NFL draft. You were at Oscars this weekend, were you not?
Yeah, it was. How'd you know that?
Because do you remember talking to me on Friday?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we did talk. I talked to you after that.
Yeah.
God, that was Friday?
Yeah, it seems a long time ago, doesn't it?
Yeah, gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we dropped their kids off for their warm up an hour before the game because they have to warm up for an hour before a baseball game, so then they can stand around for an hour and 40 minutes. So we drop them off, and then we'll go have a couple cocktails and go hang out.
It's a great bar. We're gonna do the show from 5 to
Best.
7 on Thursday, April 24th. Pat's gonna be there. We're gonna talk about the draft and all those kind of things, and then they're bringing over food from Jerry's.
Yes.
So we'll have food and all that kind of stuff. I'm excited about it. So we'll have T-Roy in again on Thursday. He's doing a mock draft, a .08 mock draft. Isn't he the best? Isn't T-Roy just good people?
He's great. I love that guy.
No, absolutely. So we got that.
You
coming
stole
up
his
on
idea. You stole him and Jay's idea with this. They had the
didn't
"Don't Hassle Us, We're Local," and then you just completely stole
I didn't
their
steal
whole thing.
I like to say, Pat, I didn't steal it. I'm just doing it correctly. Is what I like to say.
Oh, no.
No, I didn't. I don't mean that. I'm kidding. They influenced me. They did. Ask T-Roy. I had lunch with him right when I was getting ready to do this thing, and I was like, I wanted to pick their brain on stuff because they did a great job doing it. They're both too. I mean, they don't have time for this little stuff. T-Roy literally owns Bettendorf, Davenport, and probably LeClaire. I don't know too many places he doesn't. Every time we go to talk to him, he's got a different. I'm at this bar. I'm at that bar. I'm at my new bar here. I'm at my wine thing here. He's awesome. He doesn't have time to do this.
Great.
So I know that you have to.
It's too successful
to go today. How about this? It is 10:30, and I'm letting you go, just like you demanded.
You're the best. I love you.
All right, buddy. I will see you. Hey, think of something we can change the world about next week. We'll do that too.
Can't wait.
All right, see you, buddy. Pat Anger joining us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo every single Monday. Pat doesn't know it, but I'm going to try to convince him to do Fridays as well during football season. In fact, he can't hear me now, so he's good. I looked. So, yeah, the more anger, the better. It's a lot of fun. So, we got a lot more to get to on today's show. Coming up in just a little bit, or coming up after the break, we're going to be joined by a sports writing legend in the state of Iowa. When it comes to Iowa basketball, Iowa football, but more importantly, golf. Rick Brown did it for 37 years at the Des Moines Register. We're going to talk to him about the Masters, about Zach Johnson and what he did this past weekend. We'll mix in some Iowa as well. We're just getting warmed up. You're watching Off the Air on a Monday right here in the Quad Cities.
Quad Cities, it's time to bring the noise. Saturday night, April 12th, the Steamwheelers take on the Barnstormers in a hard-hitting Union Night showdown. We're honoring area Union members with a night of football action and ice-cold beers for only $1. Union members receive $5 off ticket thanks to Tri-City Building Trades Council and Union Locals 91, 25, and 145. Round up your crew and come cheer on the Wheelers. Get your tickets at steamwheelersfootball.com/tickets. And we'll see you on April 12th.
All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist. Please join us April 24th through May 3rd online for the 28th annual Chuck Long Charity Auction presented by Atlantic Bottling Company. This year's event features over 200 amazing items. The more bidders we have, the more money we'll raise for life-altering therapy for kids in need right here in the Quad Cities. So please bid high and bid often. Brought to you by these sponsors. When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Monday in the Quad Cities, Monday, April 14th. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you're watching live on YouTube, we appreciate that. Go ahead and please subscribe as well, like, comment, all those good things. If you're watching live on X, we appreciate that as well. It was a great weekend of sports in the Quad Cities and, of course, throughout the nation as well. Masters weekend. We talked a lot about it last week. Craig DeVries was on last week. Andrew Lehman was on last week talking about golf. So we got our golf fill. We got ready for it, and it did deliver. It was historic. Rory McIlroy becoming a Grand Slam champion, just the 6th all-time. So a lot of great stuff from the Masters. And then there was a guy by the name of Zach Johnson that did well as well. So a T8, I tied for 8th for Zach Johnson, 2007 Masters champion. So I figured today would be a great guy to catch up with someone who knows a lot about golf and a lot else when it comes to sports in this area. And so I wanted to talk golf, and I figured there's no better guy to talk to than sports writing legend Rick Brown, and he returned my text, which was awesome because I just cold texted you, Rick, and you graciously accepted to come on the show. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. You know, I always respected your work. Enjoyed seeing you at the John Deere Classic, and anything I could do to help you, buddy, I'll be glad to do.
I appreciate it. And I told my wife tonight, like, you know, it's one of those things where, like, when you start covering Iowa and you see Rick Brown, you're like, oh my gosh, that's Rick Brown. Or like at the John Deere Classic, to get like a smile or like, you know, to get to know you a little bit was great because that's who I grew up reading and seeing and all that kind of stuff. So I really appreciate it. 37 years, I believe, at the Des Moines Register. And it just seems like yesterday that you stopped working there. And Rick, it's been almost 10 years. Time flies. How much do you miss that kind of? How much do you miss that kind of stuff? And obviously, you've done a lot of great things since then as well. So, what's life like for you right now?
Well, there are things I miss. What I miss are the relationships you develop with coaches and athletes. That was hard to give up and step away from, but the hours, the being away from the family all the time, that was easy to get. It was easy to do that for that reason, to spend more time with the family. So give and take, I guess.
Absolutely. Well, longtime beat writer for Iowa football, Iowa basketball. We're going to talk about that kind of stuff in a little bit, but the Masters just got done, and you're one of the best golf writers in the business. When you're watching on Sunday, I think everybody was kind of pulling a little bit for Rory to get that Grand Slam. When you see him accomplish that, I guess what's kind of the first thing that pops in your head when you see him accomplish something that hadn't been done by many people, 5 people before him? He's the 6th to accomplish an amazing feat. You know, he'd come close before, but, you know, so long since he'd won a major, and every year that went by, and, you know, his loss to DeChambeau in the U.S. Open last year was heart-wrenching. He missed those short putts, and you wonder, how can the guy keep coming back? You know, at some point, is he going to hit the wall and never do it? And I respected him because with the whole live thing, he really went to bat and stuck with the PGA instead of bailing. And then, you know, that whole thing went sideways. It's still, who knows what's going on, but he stuck with the PGA Tour, and I thought that got him a lot of fanfare, I thought. But just to see a guy that good be so close to accomplishing something that had only been done 5 times, you kind of got to pull for a guy like that. No, absolutely. I think a lot of people were. And Rick, there we are on Sunday, and he gets this 5-stroke lead, and I had to go to some baseball, and my oldest son's like, Dad, Rory's got this. And I think by the time I got to the complex, it was tied again. It's never easy sometimes with Rory, and I think that's kind of the fun as a fan, is to continue to root for somebody, because he doesn't always make it easy on himself or on us, if you're one of his fans, to get to the finish line. But he got to the finish line. It's never easy with him, is it, Rick?
No, he bears his soul. He wears it on his sleeve, so to speak. I'm with you. He got to 13. He laid up 2 great shots to lay up 80 yards, knock it on the green, maybe birdie, but at the worst, par. And he hits it in the water. Suddenly you're going, oh my God, he's going to blow this. Bogey's the next hole, he's behind. Then he hits an incredible shot on 15 and eagles and is right back in it. And then he messes up on 18 with a wedge in his hand. And you think it's not destined to happen. Then he hits another incredible shot in the playoffs. So, you know, he had just enough in the tank, and his reaction after the winning putt went in, we just got overcome with emotion. That shows the pressure he was feeling, the weight of the world on his shoulders. And now I think he's going to take off and win a bunch more majors.
Yeah, Rick, you look at that reaction, and as somebody who's been around golf for a long time, that kind of stuff is what makes this sport so special, isn't it? And then the walk up and all that kind of stuff. Just talk about that, because if you're watching at home, and I love Jim Nantz because I don't feel like he said anything for 5 minutes, and that's perfect. Like he didn't have to, but that's what I think connects people with golf. To see a reaction like that, your thoughts?
Yeah, they're thinking, some people might be jaded and think, oh, these guys are making millions and millions of dollars. Is this an act or what's going on? But man, that was from the heart. Anytime you compete at the highest level and you come so close to doing rare things that things we hardly ever see, and to let it get away time and time again, to finally cross that line, it's an emotional thing. It's like I always go back to my Chicago Cubs in 2016. My dad wanted to see a World Series champion from the Cubs in the worst way. He passed away before it happened. I got to see one, so I got, that's what sports is. You invest so much time and passion and energy in it, and when you have success, it's overwhelming, the feelings you get. But I can't imagine being a golfer at that level and fighting some of the demons Rory fought, and to overcome them, because with every year it got harder and harder, but he did it. So more power to him.
Rick, I got a detour to the Cubbies because I'm a Cubby guy, and same thing. And I was probably 36, 37, and I had an old man who didn't make it to see and I remember going to his grave the next day just to kind of celebrate a little bit and let him know. But I had a 7-year-old at the time that I let stay up, and he was loving life, and I popped champagne, and he had a little Powerade thing, and he was excited, and we're sitting there. It's 1:00 in the morning, and I'm like, buddy, I've been waiting my whole life for this. Oh no, I said, I can't believe it happened. And he's 7, and he goes, oh, Dad, I've been waiting my whole life for this. And I said, shut up, you're 7. You don't even know. Yeah. So yeah, those kind of that's the beauty part of sports, though, is those kind of things. And especially for Rory, because you mentioned it, you said it great, the amount of pressure that was on him and has been on him for so long. It was just like he let it all out, and he was finally able to let all the emotions out. And it was a beautiful thing to see. That's the beauty of sports, isn't it?
Right. And that's where, in this case, I agree with you on Jim Nantz. He just let the moment happen. He didn't try to talk over it. He just let it ride. And that I thought that was a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about this guy on the leaderboard on Saturday, and then finishes in the top 10. I don't know if you've heard about him. Zach Johnson's his name. You're obviously good friends with Zach, got to cover him for a long, long time. And I think when you talk about the relationships you get to build in this business, I think that's probably a perfect example for you of a relationship you've gotten to build through this business. And now it's not just business. It's a friendship. To see your friend and to see, in my opinion, I know your opinion, the best golfer to ever come out of the state of Iowa, to do that again at 49 years old, had to be fun to watch for you.
Yeah, I mean, that 66 he shot with a bogey on 17, I mean, that's his lowest round ever. And his tie for 8th today was his actually, it was his 11th top 10 finish in a major, but it was his second best finish ever in the Masters in 21 tries. So, heck of a thing. He's playing, he's got fighting arthritis in his elbow, and he's wearing something on there. And he played with Justin Rose today, so that was kind of interesting too.
Yeah, you look at what Zach got to do, and I did see a few more things. That was his first top 10 finish since March of 2020, I think. I think it was 2020. My handwriting is terrible, but to do those kind of things.
2021.
2021. Okay. Yeah, to do those kind of things, and he's meant a lot to this state. Kind of talk about that, because here in the Quad Cities, he's got a lot of fans because of the John Deere Classic, the state of Iowa, the Cedar Rapids tie. He's been that face of golf for the state of Iowa. To see him do that again brought back some pretty fun memories of a younger Zach Johnson that did that almost week in and week out on the PGA Tour.
young Zach Johnson, who hit the bunker, one of the all-time great bunker shots at the TPC Deer Run to win the playoff, to win the Deer title. But no, I always tell this story. Burt McGrain used to cover golf for the Register, and I always thought he was the luckiest guy in the world because he experienced Jack Fleck winning the U.S. Open. In fact, he was covering a different tournament in Des Moines. They flew him out on Sunday night, so he was there just for the playoff, with the Fleck-Hogan playoff. But I just go, that would be so great to cover a guy who won a major. And, I didn't think it ever happened. And then Zach Johnson plops on my lap and takes me to majors and Ryder Cups. And and you know this about Zach. He's an all-time great guy too. Humble, and his success hasn't gone to his head. He and his wife, Kim, very generous people. And so you root for people like that. And his mom and dad, Zach's mom and dad, are wonderful people. So there's so much good there. And he hasn't changed. I'm just very happy to see him experience the Masters the way he did this week.
It's funny, Rick, because I tell people all the time, my first year out at Deer Run, I did a feature story, and my first feature story ever out there was on the Zach Attack. They wore the Zach Attack shirts out at Deer Run, his fans, and he's been always really good to me, to WQAD when we need to do stuff as well. Great to the John Deere Classic. He's not done yet, and I think the beauty part of yesterday and this weekend was that it shows, but you see what he's doing, and there's guys, he's playing 50, 60 yards behind every guy, and he's still doing what he's doing. It's a beautiful thing to see, because today's day and age, just hit the ball really far and all those kind of things. I love the golf that he did, the strokes that he had, the mental game, the short game. He kind of showed the old school side of golf a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah, he really did. They always bring up his age. 49-year-old Zach Johnson shoots 66. I got the biggest kick out of it because he was paired in that third round with John Rahm, who's a bomber. And I'm thinking 50 to 75 plus yards ahead of Zach on every hole. Zach dusted him by a couple of shots. I wonder what Rahm thought. Who's this 49-year-old guy who beating my butt?
No, I love it. Rick, I want to talk to you about some Iowa stuff, but golf-wise, and you've covered 40 John Deere Classics here in the Quad Cities. What is it about this event, this community, that you've appreciated over time, you've come to love over time? Because, we talked with Andrew Lehman last week, and it's the Packers of PGA. I mean, and I'm a Lions fan. I don't like the Packers, but I get the analogy. What do you see from maybe, obviously an Iowan, but not a Quad Cityan? What do you see about this event? What do we do right? And what do you like about the John Deere Classic?
Well, you said the magic word, community. It's such a great community event. And the people involved with the tournament, I don't know Andrew at all, but Claire Peterson was one of my favorite people in the world. He still is. He's still around. But he was so good and positive with that tournament. And just to see, the history of the tournament, left for dead several times, somehow was resilient, couldn't sink it, kept fighting, and just made the most, never complained about their dates. When they went to the fall, that's the way it is. And, the one year they didn't play it because of the Olympics, or they moved the date because of the Olympics. There was always something. They just accepted it and said, well, we're still going to have the best tournament going. And that's what, the tour votes them, the best tour stop, or what is that award they keep winning?
Yeah, the most engaged.
That's a testimony
community
to all the people. Yeah. That's a testimony to everyone in the Quad Cities who has supported that tournament. And people come out. It's a great time. It's a festive atmosphere. I really miss coming to it now, because that was always one of the highlights of my season.
Yeah. Rick Brown, 10-time Iowa Sports Writer of the Year, joining us right now and Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Rick, do you have a memory at Deer Run that stands out the most? And it doesn't have to be Deer Run. I don't want to pigeonhole you, because 40 years means that you were there well before the days out at Deer Run. But do you have a memory or two here at Deer Run? Was it Zach out of the bunker? Was it Jordan out of the bunker? Was it Tiger and all that kind of stuff? What memory stands out to you the most when it comes to the John Deere Classic?
Well, I would say three of them probably. Zach Winnan would be one of them. The bunker shot he hit. Stricker's victory when he made that 25-foot putt from the back right corner of the green.
Yeah.
That was an electric moment. And then the year Tiger got the quad and didn't win the tournament when he got outdueled by Eddie the Grip Fiore.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget that tournament was over. And back then at Coal Valley, the media center was in a tent on the asphalt parking lot. It was always hotter than heck in there. And Tiger got done, and his dad, Earl, followed him in there. And while Tiger's sitting there, his head's down, and his dad, Earl, is pontificating about his son's still the greatest player in the world, and he's going to show everybody what he can do. And I'll never forget that because obviously he was a proud dad, but he was also spot on. So I guess those three things are the things I remember the most.
Yeah, no, there's so many great memories of golf here in the Quad Cities. We are extremely lucky. We're extremely lucky to be joined right now by Rick Brown. You cover the Iowa Hawkeyes as good as you can, as good as there ever been for so many years. So we went let's go from Zach Johnson, who's a Drake guy that loves Iowa, to the basketball side of things. And there's this Drake guy that now is going to Iowa to be the head basketball coach. Before we get to Ben, though, I want to back up a little bit because Fran McCaffrey was somebody that you were there when Fran took the reins, I do believe. Yeah, I'm doing math in my head. And I felt that I wanted to make sure on my show that Fran got some flowers because, yes, there's reasons why the change happened, and I don't disagree with him per se, but he's leaving as the all-time leading win leader at the University of Iowa. I think he did a lot of really good things. So I guess your thoughts on Fran McCaffrey, somebody that you saw come into Iowa, and 15 years at a university doesn't happen very often, Rick. Your thoughts on the Fran McCaffrey era at Iowa?
Matt, you touched on something. I hope he does get some flowers because, toward the end, with social media being what it was, and, there were some tough things. People were hard on his kids, his sons who played, hard on him. The lack of defense deserved criticism, I think, but the style of play was good, and he inherited a program at the dirt bottom, and he built that thing. Going into this season, he and Tom Izzo were the only Big Ten coaches who'd been in the first division like 12 straight years or something in the Big Ten, whatever it was. So, I think he deserves a pat on the back. I've always tried to be objective, but he was a guy that was hard to be objective because he was so kind to me. I mean, he was the first person to call when my father passed away, when my mother passed away. I still don't know how he found out my mom passed away. But he called, and, he was invited me to practice even after I was out of the business, and I would text him all the time. He's got a special place in my heart. So I hope that people do at least respect what he accomplished. With that being said, hey, bring on a new coach and a new generation of Hawkeye basketball and see what happens.
Yeah, Rick, it's funny you mentioned that because similar thing I've told here on the show, but there was a iClub event over in Pleasant Valley when it's probably a month, maybe a few weeks after my dad had passed away. And I had an interview with him. We sat down, we did it. We had about 15, 20 minutes. And he told me, he's like, I got like 10 minutes. And, I mentioned that my dad had passed away, and he spent a half hour talking with me about, the experience of going through it and the emotions. I couldn't believe it. Here's the head coach of the University of Iowa taking time. I know he was late to go do what he was doing next to talk to me about my father passing away. And I'll never forget that. I will never forget that to this day. So yeah, I believe, and we all know the big business of things and stuff like that. I always said, Rick, that if it was just on coaching, he had enough equity to have another season. It's the almighty dollar these days. When you saw, and you remember covering so many games at the University of Iowa, and Carver Hawkeye Arena was packed, to know that it was like 30% full this year, whatever the numbers are, I don't know them off the top of my head, but something like that. That's jarring and alarming to a guy like yourself, isn't it? That saw Carver Hawkeye at its greatest at certain times.
Yeah, it's stunning because it troubles me a bit that, we always hear about these, the great Iowa fans. And to me, in a way, they kind of, if you don't like the head coach, okay, I understand that. but don't abandon the team, because then the team had no home court advantage, and they're playing. So that makes it tough because in a lot of places they go, it's a very big home court advantage.
Yeah, and I was a little biased. They had two of our Quad City kids, but I thought the team itself,
Oh, sure.
like I thought it was a likable team, if that makes sense. I don't know there's too many that weren't likable, but these guys definitely weren't unlikable, were they?
No, not at all. And that'll be the big unknown because they did have 4 talented players coming in for next year, and it would have been interesting to see what would have happened. But I also understand from Beth Getz's standpoint, she had to do something because she either had to go out and sell a ton of season tickets for next season or turn the page and try something different. Now it's going to be back on the Iowa fans again.
Yeah.
The first time something doesn't go the way they expect, are they going to abandon the team again? Are they going to rally behind this coach and this system and help give them a home court advantage and help them win games?
I remember when Fran came in, and I remember the press conference. I was up there, and I thought he did a really good job, reaching out to I remember him just talking about he wanted to get a former Iowa guy on staff. Like, that's how much he was trying to but he was still a Philly guy talking about Iowa sometimes. I thought Ben McCullum didn't hit a home run. I thought he had a grand slam with his press conference. And when he started talking about Wade Looking Bill and Monter Glasper and started pulling out games that you hadn't heard in a while, like, I was like, sold, sign me up. Your thoughts on what you heard from the new head Hawkeye, and not just that press conference, but he's been doing the media tour. He's been on a lot of shows, and I feel like that's a good thing right now when it comes to trying to reconnect with Iowa fans.
Right. Yeah. That's well, to go back real quick. One thing I wish that a lot of people would have had the opportunity I've had, and you too to some degree, is to have had a chance to talk to Fran and get to know him. Because, man, the guy he's a fantastic human being. He really is. And talking hoops with him is something I'll miss because he was great. But then McCollum comes in, and he's up there talking about Chris Street right away. And one of the things I did after I retired, Chris's mom and dad hired me to write a book on their son, and I did. And it came out in 2018. And he's hitting all the chords. And he mentioned Monter Glasper. I said, well, he can't be he didn't do a quick study of rosters and pull that name out. He obviously knew, and it was something he really liked. He's Storm Lake. His coach, junior college coach, was Steve Craftsison, who played at Iowa. And Craftsison said, yeah, Ben was great at dribbling into the timber. So I guess he liked to drive in the middle with no regard for himself. But so there's Iowa heritage there, both growing up as a fan for him and then playing for Hawkeye. So it'll be interesting to see. I think people will really like his personality when they get to know him. And I think the university understands that they need to get their head coach out in the public a little more. So we'll see how that goes. But they've got to identify with the coach. So, why that didn't happen with Fran, I don't know, because like I said, he's a great guy. So it's unfortunate it didn't happen. But Ben has, I think, what it takes to win the fans over.
Rick, are you used to this whole rebuilding rosters with entirely? I feel like I'm the old grumpy guy, and I understand players getting paid and all that kind of stuff, and I'm not against it, but I don't know if this is how we envisioned it, where it's literally college basketball free agency now. You go to X or Twitter, whatever they call it, and you scroll, and it's like a new person's now a free agent, and there's another guy coming in. Well, your thoughts on it, because you remember the days that you built a team, you watched them develop, and then you had good seasons. It's got to be weird to you if it's weird. I mean, am I right?
Yeah, it's really very weird. I'm the old school, I admit it, but I loved watching it. I loved watching players develop and see what good coaching would do to those players, how good coaching made them better. Now, really, you coach in a different way. You're trying to fit those pieces together right away instead of grooming them together and making them fit if they don't fit. If they don't fit, you're going to be in trouble. If you get a bunch of guys who get together. But we've got to the point now where the JT Toppin at Texas Tech just signed $4 million to stay. Well, if instead of entering the draft, he'd entered the draft and gone pretty high, he wouldn't have made $4 million next year.
Yeah.
So we're to the point now where they're going to make more by staying in college than going to the NBA, which really seems crazy.
It's nuts.
I don't know. I don't like it, but the genie's out of the bottle, and I don't know how you get it back in.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like the regulations of it or something. There just has to be some regulations, some rules. Right now it's the Wild Wild West, and I don't love it. Last thing on basketball, Rick. How do you energize Carver Hawkeye Arena? I know it's literally the $1 million question. So, but I mean, we've talked for years because it's not like it just turned off overnight, and I get the fact that youth sports and high school sports are important. It's not, hey, I remember growing up watching on KWQC every Wednesday night, every Saturday night, and that's what I did. I sat down and I watched at 7 o'clock Iowa basketball. So I get they're fighting Friday night games now and all those kind of things, but and the women are really good, and I get that. So there's a lot of factors, but I feel like it's not as simple as like, okay, Fran's gone, Ben's here comes 15-5 again. Doesn't the University of Iowa have to evolve, tweak, change, energize? I don't know if what's the right word is, but how would you try to get people back to Carver and get that place electric again? Because it's a really good home environment when it's full and rocking.
Yeah, they got to find a way to market the program. I think they've always in the past, and it's the same way with football. And you hope that football sells out tickets because there's always hope that they're going to be pretty good. Basketball, now they haven't gone to the tournament for 2 years and haven't got to Sweet 16 since Dr. Tom's last year in '89. So, I guess, hey, Coach McCollum, just go to Sweet 16 this year and all our problems are solved. But everyone thinks, well, move the students closer to the floor. Well, yeah, they should be in a different spot, but then they don't come. So why do you reward them with better seats if they haven't been coming? There's no easy answers. Like Beth Getz's, quandary, and do I make a change in the head coach? Because there was a lot to like about Fran, but now she's, okay, we got this new guy. How do we get this guy's support? Get him over the hump so they can win. First year, there'll probably be pretty decent crowds because people will be curious to see what it's like. But I don't know. There's no easy answer. I remember talking to J.R. Koch about this. I was at a practice and J.R. was there. Cooper was actually out with his lung issues, but he says, "How would you do it?" And we sat there and talked a while, and we didn't come up with any great answers. I mean, let me tell you, the bottom line is winning. That's your biggest way to punch your ticket to bigger crowds. But you need the crowds to help you win. So it's the old circle that, I don't know, the chain's been broken. They got to fix it.
It's funny, Rick, because I had Cooper on the show maybe 2 weeks ago when he recommitted or came back to Iowa. And I said, how would you? And he was funny because he goes, I could talk on this for a long time. And he mentioned moving the fans closer, the students closer, which I understand, but it's the chicken and the egg. What if you move all those? What if you move them there next year, Rick, and say, okay, here's where you guys are at, and you're probably getting rid of some pretty good boosters and donors to give them those seats. Mm-hmm. And what if they don't show up? Like there's no guarantee. Right. Then it looks really bad because there's just a bunch of empty seats courtside instead of up in the corner. Yeah. So I don't know if there's and then my other thing too is, Rick, they're still doing the burrito push at one time, and then they're still doing the golf. You can still, whatever it was back in 20, you've been to games since then. I'm not saying you haven't since then, but they haven't really evolved when it comes to the program on game day besides the actual basketball itself.
Yeah, that's the whole marketing thing. I thought they did a great job marketing women's basketball before Caitlin Clark. And then she, I guess that's all it takes. Get a once in a generation player. Hey, Coach McCollum, get a once in a generation player for us, will you? But she took it to incredible levels, and with, who doesn't enjoy watching her play? Well, and he plays. Coach McCollum plays a very interesting style. There's a lot of demand on defense, but boy, those guys play together well. They share the ball. They're fun to watch. I remember watching them when they won the tournament in Charleston early in the year, and I said, "Man, this guy's got it. This is easy to sell." So maybe his style will help sell it. We'll see.
Yeah,
I wish there was an easy answer, but if there was, they'd have done it.
Yeah. And if we had it, we'd make more money than what we did in the media, Rick. I mean, I promise you that. It's funny.
Well, it wouldn't take much to.
Yeah,
It wouldn't take much to make more than we made.
Hey, and I know that, like, I tell people all the time, the best way to, like, we needed our media food because we really needed to eat. Like, that's how we get our 3 meals a day. Sometimes we had too many meals a day. It's funny because people do say Iowa's becoming the Iowa Bulldogs. Well, you know what? That team was pretty good last year. That team would have probably beaten Iowa last year. So if the guys that are coming over are pretty good and the system's pretty good, it'll end up being a good thing as well. Rick, I got to talk to you a little bit about football, and then I promise I'll let you go. I appreciate you taking the time. But talk about longevity. Kirk Ferentz is still doing Kirk Ferentz things, and he's still the head hawk and doing well at the University of Iowa. To have that man there for as long as he's been there, and I'm sure another person that you have good fondness to, and he's really good to the media, which is awesome to see as well. But your thoughts on Kirk Ferentz continuing at the University of Iowa and continuing to win at the University of Iowa?
Yeah, he's a first-class guy and a terrific football coach. I was worried a little bit that maybe the times were passing him by a few years back. But that's one thing his son Brian needs to be given credit for. He kind of got his old man in gear and said, "Look, we can't do it the old way anymore. We got to get modern." And he kind of pushed his dad over the edge to get him more into the way things are done, especially with recruiting. I know some of the things when they have these recruiting days and all this stuff, he used to raise his eyebrows at it. Why can't I just sell them on the university and our program? Well, you got to give them bells and whistles. So Brian told his dad we need bells and whistles, and his dad listened. Credit to his dad. But just, you aren't going to find a better human being. You've talked to him a lot. You know what I mean. He's just a first-class guy, tremendous football coach. And look, the Iowa football job is not easy. I remember 19 straight non-winning seasons. So I remember how bad it used to be. He understands Iowa. He understands where Iowa is in relation to the Michigan and Ohio States and now, Oregon and everybody else in the world. I think his health is good. I think Iowa's lucky to have him. And for the people who get rid of him, I said, be careful what you wish for, because especially with football, boy, that can fall off in a hurry.
Rick, I'm here in the Quad Cities, and Illinois won 9 games last year and then won a 10th one in the bowl game, and they were ready to throw a parade in Champaign. And if you win 9 games at the University of Iowa, they're complaining. And I think you're doing something right already when you've already set the bar, the expectations that high. In the years you've covered Iowa football, and I have them. I mean, unfortunately, one of them's on the show today with Pat Anger, but I have those favorite players that I've gotten to know and become friends with. I'm certain that's the same with you. Who are some of your favorite Hawkeyes that you got to cover and know over the years at the University of Iowa?
I was like Brandon Sheriff because he let me go fishing with him one time. No, I'm just kidding. We went to Austin, and Austin Blythe is another guy. I went to his folks. They got a couple ponds outside Williamsburg there, and just had a riot fishing with those guys one day in the summer. But
that's awesome.
Guys like Christian Kirksey, I thought he was a first-class guy. Really liked him because he was there when times were tough, and he made it in the NFL. Didn't think he would, and he made it and had a lot of good years. Just guys like that. I like little under the radar guys.
Yeah.
George Kittle was a beauty. He's not an under the radar guy, but he was. I've known George's mom for a long time, and I've always liked him. I don't know. There's a lot of guys. I'm probably leaving some guys out that I shouldn't, but I guess it's more the team. Iowa football, what I enjoyed was the team concept, the hard work, and you know, we're going to be plain vanilla maybe, but we're going to beat you or give you a hard fight. I think that another thing, Kirk, you got to give him credit for is realizing that the offense needed a jolt, and it sounds like things are going pretty well there. So if they get the offense to match Phil Parker's defense, watch out, they might be pretty good.
Yeah.
Tough schedule this coming year, but looking ahead, that they get the offense rolling a little bit, it could be interesting.
It's funny, Rick, because it seems like, and a few more for you. I keep saying that, and I promise I'll let you go here soon. But when Iowa has high expectations, it's not like they do bad. But I feel like Iowa always has those best years or some of their better years are when they're maybe not expecting it to be an amazing year. And that's kind of, you hear Iowa fans now going, well, they lost a lot on defense and they got to replace this and the schedule's hard and all that kind of stuff. I feel like that's when Kirk does his best work. Am I crazy? Or is it one of those things that sometimes that's when Kirk is the best at getting the most out of guys when people least expect it?
Yeah, old 8-4 Kirk, my God, I remember 0-11 under Frank Lauterbur. So I guess that's how old I am. But, they took a long time to get traction. Hayden Fry got traction, and then Kirk followed suit. But, when people doubt them or, think they're not going to be very good, you're absolutely right. That's when they surprise people. When they're expected to win the Big Ten, they probably don't do it. So, don't take them seriously, and they'll probably be okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Rick, I've greatly enjoyed this. I called you and I said, hey, let's talk some Masters and some Zach, and I kept you for almost 40 minutes. So I appreciate you doing it. You look great. Stay healthy. Do all that kind of stuff. Come back down to the John Deere Classic. I guarantee you can get credentialed. I'll make sure of that. So come down this summer and check it out.
I'll try to get there. I always enjoy that week. So
awesome. Well, Rick, I appreciate you. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Okay, Matt, enjoyed it. Anytime.
Awesome. That is Rick Brown, 10-time Iowa Sports Writer of the Year, an absolute Hall of Famer, talking about the Masters, Zach Johnson, and, of course, Iowa football and men's basketball. We got a lot more to get to. You're watching Off the Air on a Monday right here at the Quad Cities. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist. When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air on a Monday here in the Quad Cities. Of course, baseball season is in full swing. A lot of big matchups, a lot of conference races heating up, but there's also a lot of cool things happening on the baseball diamonds besides just the games itself. And I want to welcome the head coach of the Alleman Pioneers, Thomas Simth, because Thomas, conference play is in mid-swing, and there's a lot going on. But I know Tuesday night, a non-conference game is a big night for you guys. It's going to be Military Appreciation Night down at Gerard's Yard. Kind of talk about the idea, the concept, and why you guys wanted to do this.
Yeah, when I was in high school, I had a head coach named Andy Satunis who had a Military Appreciation Night, and it was just really cool. I thought it was a good experience for us. They had a color guard out there with some Vietnam veterans, and it was just a really cool experience and a really good way to shake the hands of some military personnel and some veterans that were at our game. And I thought that was like a really good thing that we could bring here. I'm also a big Clemson Tigers fan, and Eric Bakich down at Clemson is really big on supporting the military as well. I mean, every day should be Military Appreciation Day to me. So I just thought that if we could do one day where we could just go all out, we have some military-themed hats and jerseys for the night. Just a way that we could say thank you to our military. I mean, there's a lot going on in the world with politics, and I think it's more divided than ever. But I think the one thing that we can all agree on is that we're very thankful for our servicemen and servicewomen and our veterans. So for us to be able to do that, I think is a great thing.
I'm sure it excites the players as well. Kind of talk about that and what you've said to your kids about Military Appreciation Night, because you got conference game Wednesday, conference game Monday, and it's sandwiched in between, but that makes it for a big week. This game, that Military Appreciation game's probably got the guys pretty excited as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one thing that we have done this year that I had never done in my past coaching experience is I added the American flag onto all of our hats and some of our jerseys, and I really made sure we have actually practiced how to stand for the national anthem at practice, because I think it's such a crucial thing. And I challenge the kids, in that a minute and 15, minute and 20 seconds that national anthem plays for, to stop and reflect on what we are given in this country that a lot of people don't have access to. And to just, take that little bit of time to just say, like, we are lucky to be Americans. And the kids have really kind of bought into that. And, Chris Bowers does a great job. And Eileen went taking photos for our games. And it's always kind of cool to see the kids during the anthem. They're like locked in, and you could tell everyone's standing the same way, and everyone's, got a purpose. It's not just we got our head down and we're shaking our head or jumping around like some of these guys in the NFL and whatnot do. Like, I think our guys are kind of locked into what they're supposed to be doing, and really, thankful for the opportunity that they've gotten.
The uniforms are cool. The atmosphere is going to be great, but you're doing stuff for service members as well. So kind of talk about that, because yes, there's Alleman fans that have served in the military, and that'll make for a perfect combination or perfect marriage that night. But if you're a military service guy that just hasn't been out to to a high school baseball game in a little while. Kind of talk about Tuesday night, because they can come down to the yard, get in for free, get some food, watch some baseball. Kind of talk about what the night has for anybody who's watching this that just wants to go see some good baseball.
Yeah, so our game starts at 4:30 for first pitch. We're trying to get a color guard down there at 4:20. We have a lot of people behind the scenes working on it. We haven't confirmed anything yet. We have to go through a lot of paperwork and whatnot, but we're hoping to have a color guard down there at 4:20. And then all military, current and former military personnel will get a free hot dog and drink. Shout out to Adam Bain, big Alleman supporter, for sponsoring that little giveaway. But yeah, it's just a great opportunity. We'd love to see as many servicemen and servicewomen and veterans down there as we can, just to say thank you. And, you know, some of our guys would love to just shake your hand and say thank you for our service.
Anytime you can shout out Adam Bain on my show, it's a good thing. I love Boehner. The season itself, Alleman won 8 games last year, I think, total. It's 11 and 5 now. No victory laps are being taken by any stretch of the imagination, but you've got to feel good about the strides your program has made this season.
Definitely. I've been talking with our coaches quite a bit, and I think one thing that I'm really excited about for this year is I felt like last year whenever games were close, and even watching some of our other boys sports teams, whenever games get close, the guys seem to tense up and kind of look at each other and like, who's going to mess this one up. But this team, we've kind of battled back from some deficits, some early deficits, even some late deficits, and we actually have a couple walk-offs. But I feel like this team, for the lack of a better term, when the crap hits the fan, our guys are looking around like, who's going to step up and make this happen? And I think guys are buying into the fact that we are competing and the expectation that we are going to win baseball games. I think that's the biggest thing. It's not, it's little Alleman, people, feel sorry for us. It's, no, we're going to go out there. We're going to beat you. We're going to try to step on your throats when we have you down, and we're going to try to put you away. And I think that culture change is very responsible for the success we've had this season.
Thomas, you have a game tonight against Geneseo, and you look at this conference, and there's not a night off.
Pretty good competitive games. We split with Moline, then UT, defending conference champion. We lost to them by 3 and then had a one-run game against them. So we feel pretty confident where we're at. But yeah, the conference is top to bottom pretty strong. So I think, and a lot of other coaches think, that 9 and 5 might get the job done this year to win conference. So we kind of put ourselves a little bit behind the 8 ball, because I originally told the guys we needed 5 splits and 2 sweeps to get to that 9 and 5 magic number. And getting swept by UT certainly did not help, but I think that it's definitely still in the realm of possibilities if we can start executing a little bit better.
Last one for you. Are you used to this Wednesday stuff? I know we talked about it. I don't want to beat a dead horse or anything like that, but are there any positives to this Monday and Wednesday stuff?
Yes and no. I think it's harder to sweep. We took the first one off Moline at our place, and they had a practice day on Tuesday, I think, or maybe they had another non-conference game, but they had, 40 hours or so to, come back for another game. Whereas on Saturdays in the doubleheader, you have a hungry hobo sandwich in 25 minutes to flush the first game and try to get ready for the second game. So I think that, it puts a little less pressure on teams to try to get the second one if you lose the first one, just because, like, even last week for us, we had a tight game against United Township, game 1, and then we had a really good day of practice on Tuesday, and we brought our best foot forward on Wednesday, and it just wasn't enough with a 1-run game. But I think that having that practice day or that off day or that non-conference opponent day to build a little bit of confidence certainly makes it harder to get that sweep. I definitely think that has made a huge change in, like, the overall culture, and I think we're going to see a lot more splits in the league because of that.
It is Military Appreciation Night down at Gerard's Yard on Tuesday. If you're watching this, if you're an Alleman fan, get down there anyways. But if you're just a fan of good baseball and a hot dog and you served our country, we thank you. Go have a meal. Go watch some baseball. Go get a win. If you see that little freshman of mine, slap on the back of the head for me, will you?
Will do. Hey, if you're a military personnel or veteran, thank you for your service and load the wagon.
Awesome. Thanks, Thomas. We appreciate you. That is Thomas Simth, head coach of the Alleman Pioneers, talking a little baseball, but more importantly, talking about Military Appreciation Night at Gerard's Yard. That game is Tuesday night, 4:30 against Monmouth Roseville. Get on down there and support the military. And if you're a military person, get down there and get your thank yous that you rightfully deserve. We got a lot more to get to. You're watching Off the Air on a Monday right here in the Quad Cities. When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Please join us April 24th through May 3rd online for the 28th annual Chuck Long Charity Auction presented by Atlantic Bottling Company. This year's event features over 200 amazing items. The more bidders we have, the more money we'll raise for life-altering therapy for kids in need right here in the Quad Cities. So please bid high and bid often. Brought to you by these sponsors. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Monday in the Quad Cities. We're going to be talking about the Chuck Long Charity Auction a lot next week. We're hoping to have Chuck on and A&G Peterson on next week to talk about it. It begins next Thursday, April 24th. It's a great auction. It wraps up on May 3rd this year. So we're going to be pushing it a lot on the show. We really want you guys' help. Great items, over 200 fantastic items. So that's an awesome thing. But also it helps so many charities or so many kids right here in the Quad Cities. The Children's Therapy Center, an awesome organization. One that I've gotten to know and love a lot over the years. So if you guys can help out, I'll be bugging you, but make sure you do. We need all the help we possibly can. Nearly 200 Quad City area kids are on the waiting list right now. So we want to get as much therapy, life-changing therapy, to as many kids here in the Quad Cities as possible. So the Chuck Long Charity Auction kicking off next Thursday, April 24th. We'll bug you a lot more about it then as well. So hopefully you guys can all help out as well. It's been a fun show so far today. Pat Anger on talking about his weekend and all of that good stuff. It was really good to catch up with Rick Brown, somebody I have the utmost respect for. So for him to take the time to come on my show and talk about the Masters and Zach Johnson and Iowa basketball and football was a ton of fun. And then, of course, Thomas Simth, the Alleman head baseball coach. A really cool night tomorrow night at Gerard's Yard at Alleman Complex. Military Appreciation Night. So a good baseball game between Alleman and Monmouth Roseville, but also a chance for you to get out there. If you're a military service, if you have military service, you can get a free hot dog, free drink, watch a great baseball game, all of that kind of stuff. So really cool thing they're doing down at Gerard's Yard tomorrow. Alleman versus Monmouth Roseville. A couple headlines from the day. Kasper Yakachonis is officially in the NBA draft. He declared to doing that today. Also, Adam Miller, former Illinois standout, transferred to LSU, transferred to Arizona State, back in the transfer portal once again. There's some reports linking him to Illinois once again. We'll keep an eye on that. Football-wise, Brendan Sullivan is in the transfer portal. He announced that over the weekend as well. The Quad City Steamwheelers are 4-0 on the season. They cruised past Iowa. They get a bye week, and then they get rocking and rolling once again. We'll have much more on them on Steamwheeler Wednesday coming up right here and Off the Air coming up this Wednesday as well. And then, of course, also we wanted to mention something that just happened over the last little bit. Central DeWitt standout, MAC Girls Basketball Player of the Year, Lauren Walker, has committed to Northern Iowa. She was going to go to Lewis. They had a coaching change there. She reopened things and quickly committed to Northern Iowa. Lauren's been on the show several times. A fantastic young person, really good basketball player in a conference that had a ton of individual talent. For her to be named Player of the Year, and well-deserved, shows how good she is. Maybe we'll see if we can if we can track down Lauren Walker over the next couple of days and talk to her, the Central DeWitt standout, heading to Northern Iowa now to play basketball. So, well, that'll do it for today's show. Want to thank you guys for watching. Again, the countdown is on to 1,000. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers here and Off the Air. So if you haven't subscribed, we're down to 10. So if you haven't subscribed, do so. And if you have, tell a friend, or 10, and that would be ideal. 10 would be perfect, so we can continue to do this fun show. Not that we need that to continue, but tell them about what we're doing right here each and every day in the Quad Cities. And as we leave you today, we've got to thank those fantastic sponsors. They allow me to do this every single day. And guess what? We'll be back here again tomorrow with a brand new show. Remember, Steamwheeler Wednesday is on Wednesday. John Nelson, the Augustana softball coach, the Vikings off to a fantastic season. He'll be on Thursday, and we have our big WrestleMania show this week because WrestleMania week is here. WrestleMania is upon us this weekend, so we'll be talking some professional wrestling later on the week right here and Off the Air. So thank you guys so much for watching today's show. We'll see you back here once again tomorrow.